Hey everyone, I'm Brett, and welcome to Nightwood Guns. Got a fun one for you here. We have the Jacob Grey brand new TWC Black 2011 style pistol. So I took a look at the original TWC9 from Jacob Grey at SHOT Show earlier this year and thought that it could use a few little improvements. Well, Jacob Grey has impressed me thoroughly by actually listening to consumers, listening to customers, and applying that feedback to their brand new TWC Black. If you're unfamiliar, Jacob Grey made OEM aerospace parts, so they are no strangers to precise machining. This is a company that is striving for perfection, and I wanted to review it on my channel because I really believe in this company, and seeing how they listen to customer feedback, I cannot wait to see where they end up. These TWCs are built one by one and inspected one by one, so these have excellent quality control. So some of the QC stuff you've seen popping up in Staccatos just because of the sheer volume that they're pumping out, that's something you are not going to see in Jacob Grey's. They are extremely consistent. It's also very nice that they have a lifetime warranty and they are manufactured right here in the USA. For full transparency, Jacob Grey did send this in for review and for use in future content. They are aware that I run a 100% honest channel here, but they are a company that values honesty and feedback so they can better improve their products. And in my opinion, that is a badge of honor in today's industry. Now, this was a 500 round review. I feel like after 500 rounds, I had a very good sense of this pistol, and I certainly have a lot of thoughts, both positive and a couple little nitpicky pieces of feedback. 1911 style pistols can also be a little finicky with ammunition, so we're going to talk about that a little later on as well. But speaking of ammo, I did mostly run my #1 target ammo of choice, Buffalo Creek, through the Jacob Grey, and it ran 100%. Absolutely love this stuff and have something on screen there to help you out. So let's hop right into the new features on the TWC Black, starting with the new grip texture. So the original TWC9 had virtually zero side paneling texture, and anybody who spends any amount of time shooting immediately saw that and was like, no. So they listened and added a complete wraparound texture to the TWC on the Black model. Another way they listened to customer feedback is they added a toolless guide rod, which is a welcome addition. They also black nitrided the bull barrel along with all of the accents, and this thing is looking sleek. This is Batman's 2011. And finally, they added a skeletonized trigger, which adds to the look, and they hard coat anodized that black. So we touched on the barrel, and it has a beautiful crown. This is a 4¼ inch bull barrel, which is something that I love to see on a pistol like this. They slightly changed the trigger guard shape to make it more easily fit in holsters, but this still didn't fit in any of my 2011 holsters, so I had to break out the Tier 1 concealed MSP, toss an X300 on there so I could run it from concealment. So for this pistol, they went with 2011 pattern magazines, which probably makes the most sense. This comes with 2 Checkmate 2011 magazines. If you're unaware, Checkmate is the OEM manufacturer for Staccato mags. So other than Staccato, Atlas Gunworks, MBX, all the 2011 mags are going to work in this. The grip and the frame are billet 7075 aluminum, and it is a hefty piece of aluminum. Normally my complaint with aluminum frame pistols is they're kind of lightweight without the benefits of minor recoil absorption from polymer, but this is a meaty piece of aluminum. This almost feels like it has the weight of a steel frame gun. It feels like it's built like a tank, but it's not so heavy that carrying it is out of the question. I think they found a nice balance here. The barrel has a 1 in 10 twist rate, making this an insanely accurate barrel. It also helps that it is perfectly fit to the gun. Out of all of the 2011 style pistols that I have shot, this one's the most accurate from the bench. This thing is laser beam accurate, and to be honest, the gun pretty much shoots itself. This is just one of those guns that for whatever reason you pick it up and you start punching one-hole groups. The mechanical accuracy on this is unmatched in this range of 2011. Speaking of shooting it, the crowned bull barrel makes this thing shoot so smooth. So adding non-reciprocating weight to the gun helps make it shoot smoother, shoot flatter, and this thing shoots exactly as I would expect it to with a bull barrel. It's a feature that is a must-have for me in a 2011 style pistol. Another quick compliment, this thing is sprung perfectly from the factory. That's always a relief to see because a lot of times guns are coming oversprung nowadays, but the return to zero on this thing is excellent. Now when I first got this thing, the trigger was heavier than I expected. On the website it says 3.5 pounds, and it was pulling around 4 to 4.5 pounds. But after putting 500 rounds through it, it is now broken in and is now breaking at just under 4 pounds, which is a decent weight to have for a 2011. This thing is also running XS sights, got that big orange front sight there, and a square serrated notch at the back. This is a great set of defensive sights that allow you to easily shoot target focused, but more on the sights later. So now that I've gone over a lot of the features, I want to dive more in depth to the details and take a closer look at things like the grip texture. So this grip texture is very interesting because, it's essentially lasered into the billet aluminum grip, and they actually did a really good job. So in my opinion, this is what I consider to be an excellent carry grip texture. It is not abrasive, it's going to be very smooth against your skin and very comfortable while carrying, but when you grip it tightly and your hand bites into the texture, it actually sticks. And this is something that surprised me. When I got this in hand, I was like, oh no. Ugh. But once I actually got a grip on it and started shooting it, the thing stuck in my hand. So I'm thoroughly impressed by this. The only downside is when I dunked my hand in water and put it on the gun, it started slipping again. So dry hands, ideal conditions, this thing is going to absolutely stay put. And even with a wet hand, it's not like it's completely sliding out of your hands as if there's no texture. You're just not going to get that sandpaper effect from a more aggressive grip texture that might not be as comfortable to carry. I think this is a good job. I give them a thumbs up. Even though my personal preference goes towards more aggressive grip textures, even for carry, my guess is for the vast majority of people, this is going to be perfect for carry. I also really like what they've done with the texturing on the front of the trigger shoe. Normally when you have textured triggers like that, it can rub on your finger over time, but they found a nice balance of adding some traction without making it rub your finger raw. So I'm actually a big fan of how they did that. Something else that a lot of people might miss on this is on the front strap of the pistol, there's a flat. And that helps give you some passive traction and helps lock it into your hand without aggressive grip texturing. That was actually a really smart design decision, and I found that I really liked it when shooting it. I know grip circumference is something that interests people on these, and this is the same grip circumference as a Bul Armory, which makes it really close to a Staccato P or XC, so expect that level of grip circumference when it comes to the TWC Black. Another cool attention to detail that I like on this is, it has a checkered back strap like many other 1911 style pistols, but they checkered the memory hump on the grip safety, which I think is really cool. It really helps the thing stick in your hand. They also did a pretty good job funneling out the bottom of the grip here to act as a little bit of a mag well, makes reloads pretty smooth. But my biggest compliments of this pistol come with its fit and finish. It is clear that the people at Jacob Grey are perfectionists. This thing is fit so well. It's clear they know what they're doing. There's a reason the mechanical accuracy on this is so impressive. And the other impressive thing is it's fit so well, and it is incredibly reliable. I've had a bunch of different ammo through this, mostly my Buffalo Creek, but I also did my Federal HSTs. I had some MagTech and some PMC Bronze laying around, along with, yes, Blazer ass. With its tight tolerances, I was a little worried going into it, but once it was all said and done, I was thoroughly impressed. And finally, the aesthetics on this thing. Like I said, this looks like Batman's 2011. They did go for a double scoop down here at the front, which is hit or miss for some people. I think it looks unique and cool, same with the serrations, more on those in a little bit. But this thing manages to balance sleek and mean. I think it's a good looking pistol. But as you know, this is an honest channel. I'm the voice of the consumer, being one myself and having been burned too many times. So we're gonna hop into the things that didn't really thrill me, some pieces of feedback for Jacob Grey moving forward since they're always striving for perfection, and a few that are negatives. So number one, I have to mention it, it's the price. We're looking at 3 big ones. I'm sure that's just where it's starting, and street price will probably come down a little bit, but for that amount of moolah, there are going to be a lot of expectations when it comes to a handgun. But in my opinion, there's only one real glaring issue that I have, and that is the safety. So this is actually, I believe, the second iteration of the safety. They got some criticism about the first iteration as well, and the safety's very well fit to the gun. I mean, this is one of the few ambi safeties on a 2011 or 1911 that doesn't wiggle like a loose tooth. So it is well fit, well finished, but it almost feels like the safeties that go on like the cheaper Tisas. And I think I know what they were going for. They were going for a thinner, low profile safety to make it easier to carry. But the problem is it has sharp corners on it. And it looks like they tried to round those corners down as much as possible, but still, when you are riding your thumb on the safety while shooting it, your thumb kind of curls over the edge of it, and yeah, thumb's getting poked by the corner there. So for this many clams, at a bare minimum, I expect a safety with rounded edges on it, not corners. Something else interesting on this is this screw in the trigger guard here. They went with an oversized screw, and because of that, it kind of eats into the trigger guard area. And maybe if you had bigger hands and were shooting gloved, that might actually reduce how much space you have in there. So next up, talking about the serrations, I think aesthetically speaking, these serrations are awesome. Like I said, they're very Batman. I'd like it if they kept this design. They could just go a little bit deeper. They're not quite as grabby as I would like them to be. They're kind of on the smooth side. They also have a little chamber indicator hole right there in the barrel, and that can be an issue with, tossing carbon and gas up onto the glass of your optic, which could cloud it up. The sights that come on this are excellent if you're not using an optic. It is a bright orange front dot with tritium inside of it and a square serrated rear sight that makes for very easy target focused shooting while being able to have reference of your front sight. And these things are pretty tall and blocky, but they still are within that 1/3 lower co-witness, which is the bare minimum that I like to see. I usually prefer something like a 1/5 lower co-witness. Hopefully we can start normalizing and even lower co-witness pretty soon here, but right now this is lower 1/3 and I'm grateful to have at least that. It is awesome that each optic plate has a rear sight on it, so you are not losing the rear sight when mounting an optic. And the final thing worth mentioning is this does feature a few metal injection molded parts, but remember, they were an OEM manufacturer for aerospace parts, so they kind of know what they're doing. MIM parts can be an issue when they are done improperly, and it's clear that Jacob Grey knows what they're doing. And the MIM parts in this are the sear, the disconnector, and the hammer. Now, I have 500 rounds to this pistol now, no issues yet. I'm going to keep shooting this thing, so as I hit 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 plus rounds, I will keep you guys posted if anything changes, but I'm expecting this thing to keep running like a top. So I think the final question here is, there are a lot of double stack 1911s and 2011s on the market. So what sets this apart and who is it for? Well, in my opinion, if you're just not feeling the other brands, you think Staccato is blah, Bul Armories are always sold out, Atlas Gun Works is out of reach, and you want something nicer than a Prodigy or a Tisas, and the Stealth Arms Platypus might just be a little too goofy for you, then this is the 2011 to get if you want to be different. If you're looking for something different, something unique that still is incredibly well built, one of the best built 2011s in this price range, then the Batman 2011 is definitely worth looking at. Its shooting performance and its fit and finish is on par with how many clams this thing costs. This is a premium firearm, and I can't wait to see what they come out with next, because with the way they listen to customer feedback, I would keep an eye on Jacob Grey because they're going to keep innovating. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video on the TWC Black. Don't forget to hit that like, thumbs up button, leave a comment down below, and be sure to check out the links in the description for additional ways to support the channel. It was great seeing you guys again, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm Brett, and this was Nightwood Guns. Nightwood out.